Welcome to Permission Granted, a wilder intimacy podcast. This is for people who've lived inside rules, roles, or identities that no longer fit. And these conversations will explore what happens when you stop performing who you were taught to be and start listening to your body, your truth, and your desire. I'm your host, Kristin Warnaca, and I'll be bringing you guests from around the world, offering grounded and honest dialogue about intimacy, shame, spirituality, power, healing, and self-trust. This is not about self-improvement, and it's not about hustle culture. It's not about healing as a lifestyle or about fixing yourself. It's about permission. To feel what you feel, to want what you want, to evolve, to rest, to be wholly you, and to live unedited. Because this material will include topics that are mature in nature, the intended audience is 18 plus. Please do not listen with children in the car or nearby. Permission Granted is for adults ready to loosen the grip of shame, to reclaim their agency and come home to themselves at the pace safety allows. So welcome to Permission Granted, conversations that set you free. My first guest is my beloved friend, Beth Buchanan from Well Nourished. I'm just looking at you right now, seeing your glow. I'm feeling so honored and so excited that you're here with me today. Thank you. So tell the world. I'm going to tell the world about you. Okay, so Beth Buchanan is a functional nutritional therapist, an educator, and a steady guide back to the body's innate wisdom. She's a board-certified holistic nutritionist and functional medicine certified health coach. And she specializes in personal functional medicine therapy and lifestyle support for women navigating hormonal transitions, chronic conditions, and chronic health problems. Beth is an energizer bunny who literally makes nutrition and science fun. We could nerd and geek out all day about this. And literally the conversation I've needed to have for a long time when you started talking to me about this. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. I can't even. It's like coming out of my body.
Beth and I have known each other for several years here in Bend, Oregon. And she specializes, like, I'm going to quote you exactly. Let's see if I've got it. Like, specializing in helping people navigate the wild ride of perimenopause through food, nutrition, and self-care. So let's start there.
Awesome.
When women come to you at Well Nourished, what do they usually walk in the door asking for? And what do you know or sense that they actually need?
Yeah, this is so perfect. So most of my people come in and they are overeducated, really confused, over consuming all the information on all the socials, and so eager and exhausted from what they've tried, from the information they have, and no clue how to navigate it, because there's so much information that conflicts with each other, and they don't know if they should be fasting or how much fat they should be eating or where protein comes in, and how their nervous system is completely fried. So it really is this woman that's doing it all and cannot keep doing it all alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The woman who's doing it all and cannot keep doing it all alone. That's where you come in and you help. So, okay, fantastic. So let's talk about perimenopause. You're also one of the founding members of the Perimenopause here in Central Oregon, which is a beautiful collaboration of practitioners who have monthly drop-in events in education. So this is one of your real specialties, perimenopause and nutrition. So how is it different than diet culture or optimize your hormones narratives that tend to show up in midlife?
Yeah, this is such a good question. So as we know, there's like very little research on women, and we're just starting to open this door, and attention and media and names are finally coming out there that are kind of creating the beginning of this wave of like, this is a big deal. Any woman that lives long enough will go through perimenopause. It's not just some of us, it's all of us. And the lack of information is really disheartening. Where I think that I shine and that I really make super important in these lives is how much the nervous system comes in and the adrenal glands and supporting beyond food. Like, I love the food, and that's what got me into this. But we can be so overstressed and not taking care of this part of our self, our soul, and eat all the right things and work out exactly how I should be working out, and we're never going to feel very great. So that is a massive, massive component to this part of life is how are we really supporting this giant picture? How's circadian rhythm playing a role? What's happening with connection and stress relief or stress reduction, which looks very different for different people, but it has to be a whole picture. And this is such a massive like brain change, right? There's this like literally brain pairing clipping happening during this time because of estrogen, right?
Yes, real time, real life, right now. Yes.
Acknowledging that and how does that play a role in how I feel about myself? How does that play a role in how I'm communicating or able to show up in my job? I used to feel really highly functioning and now I feel like I don't operate the way I used to.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's got to be this like whole body, whole soul approach to
Yeah.
this transition that every woman will go through if they live long enough.
I'm so right there in it with you. And this is why I really wanted to bring you out and share. And it's something I'm actively living every day. And almost all of my clients are too in
Yeah,
my intimacy practice. And so everything starts rearranging. And
exactly.
the old ways of doing things didn't work. So now this one, I'm very excited to ask this question because you light up like a Christmas tree on steroids when you get really excited about certain topics. So I want to know some of your soapboxes. If I could literally just be like, here's your mic, go. What pisses you off or what really, really inspires you that you feel like people need to know?
Okay, the first thing that comes to mind is fasting, intermittent fasting, and what it looks like
Sure.
for
Yeah.
men and at different ages, and how fasting helps with autophagy and supporting mitochondrial health, right? Those are true things found in literature, but they are true for men. They are not necessarily true for women. So I like to give this example about ovaries, right? Ovaries are heavily laden with mitochondria. Those mitochondria need fuel in the form of food, in the form of nutrition. Food is information. Like food is biochemistry. The only reason we have biochemistry is because we eat food. And what does it do in our body? So we're constantly providing energy, information through food. Those little mitochondria in our ovaries need constant information. They need nourishment. And without it, let's not even go into like conception, fertility, and having babies, because that's a huge topic.
Mm.
But without it, our ovaries start to underperform. They're not a life, we don't have to have really great sex hormone production to live. We need great sex hormone production for quality of life. And that isn't just libido, that goes into brain health and bone health and cardiovascular health, right? It's this really systemic conversation. But when we fast or we don't do time restricted eating appropriately, all we're doing is taking away information from a thing, a little organelle that needs a ton of information. So, I mean, that's just the beginning of why fasting isn't great for women. I mean, that's even in like regularly cycling women. Okay. This isn't even perimenopause yet. Then we get into perimenopause and we have kind of dampened ability to deal with stress. When we start to take food away, when we start to do this intermittent fasting thing, during a time we already are kind of in this zone of chaos, all we do is completely stress the system even more.
Mm.
That's one of my biggest frustrations. So many of my women show up and they've been intermittent fasting and they've told themselves or they've seen it online or whatever, here's what we need to be doing, or my trainer said it, whatever. And that's a big relearning that I have to kind of put out there and get really educated on.
Okay, this is like ding 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 huge. I've actually been taught this and told this and did intermittent fasting
Yeah,
for a
yes,
period of years.
I did too.
Um and so this is new information and it makes so much sense why I didn't feel good. Because if I'm interpreting the science into human language for like the beginner me on nutrition, it almost sounds like sensory deprivation or like starvation of everything, all communication, not really rest the way I had previously been taught or interpreted it. Say more
Yeah,
about that. Did I
that's
get it?
so good. Yes,
Okay.
it's not a space of like, "Oh, we're providing rest for the system." It's a space of you don't get anything.
Mm,
We need things, we're taking them away. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I like
okay.
that.
That speaks to me so much because I actually don't in my body and in my world, I don't believe in deprivation. I actually believe in nourishment, like on this erotic and emotional and
Yeah.
romantic and spiritual level. So like I love this. I don't like to deny or restrict as much as make it more meaningful and more
Yeah.
fulfilling in terms of relationships. So this like feels so aligned.
And that's my, like,
Awesome.
well nourished, right? That's where I got my name.
Right.
Like, this is how much can we nourish, not how can we take things away, but we're really intending on this, like, deep nourishment.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let's pivot a little bit and
Okay.
let's talk about how we both ended up here together. I mean, besides the fact that we love each other and, refer clients back and forth. So our work is so complementary, but I'd, I'd love to hear your inspiration for why you invited me to actually do this program that we're going to be doing coming up.
Yeah.
Because we do have a partnership coming up and
Mm,
offering. So why don't you tell the world a little bit, as much as you would
mm.
like? It's very rare for me to actually be able to have someone I've worked with
Yeah.
um, be able to share their experiences. So share whatever you want about how we
Okay.
worked together and what led us here.
Yeah, I'm completely honored to share because it's truly like you, your work, your tools, your techniques have truly changed my body, my life, my nervous system, my brain from a side that I have know nothing about. I'm good at food. I'm good at lifestyle. I'm good at all that. This side I have no tools on. So I've been so fortunate to be able to work with Kristen. And the very like down and dirty of how I can explain the work together is I walked in incredibly dysregulated, not from just a momentary dysregulation, but from a lifetime of patterns and not necessarily like severe trauma, but trauma around the military and relationships and whatever. All sorts of little things come together to have this pretty dysfunctional, dysregulated nervous system. And then I spent 3 hours one day with Kristen using a multitude of her tools in her toolbox. And I walked away a calm, centered, completely different body that when I entered into my marriage, into my relationship with my children, my family, I couldn't believe the difference. It was literally a switch. And
Mm,
it wasn't even something I was like, now I have to actively work to maintain this. It was like, whoa. I walk in this room where I used to have my shoulders up and I used to get, a tight chest and a tight stomach, calm. And it's how I'm showing up, not necessarily what the person in front of me is doing. I'm able to just be like, I've got this. The story in my head is rewritten. The story in my nervous system is rewritten. And I don't have to work really hard at it afterwards. There's talk therapy and different modes that work really well for people. They've not worked for me. Or I had to do a bunch of exercises and a bunch of practicing to make anything really switch. And working with you, Kristen, has made that like easy. So my experience with you quickly turned into, oh my gosh, all of my women clients, not even age dependent, because I would say perimenopause, but I've got lots of menopause, I've got younger. All of them need some version of body love, some kind of self acceptance, anything undone in that realm that will support their healing that we're working on in nutrition and lifestyle. And at that point, it's like, I don't have these tools. I know someone and I'm going to pull her in and it's going to be magical. I mean, it truly, I can't picture a better pairing. And I'm so excited to bring your magic to my people, that need it so badly.
I feel the same way. I've actually had this flow that we're actually like blending Beth's work that comes from her Cycle Wise program and her Perry Wise program. That was the name of it, right?
Yep.
Went through a couple, yeah. So
Yep.
Cycle Wise and Perry Wise, nutritional programs and teaching. You're bringing some of that in with some brand new material, making peace with the body in terms of the inner critic or the adversarial voice and the blocks that are mental and spiritual and that get in the way and sabotage. Like a lot of people want to work with a nutritionist. They want to make changes, and yet there's still something inside that's like actively stopping or blocking or slowing down the process. There's this
Yeah.
internal thing. And when you got to experience my work, you were like, yes. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I've had this thing, but I haven't like known how to quite bring it in a way. I just wasn't ready. I think I was waiting for you. Because it's been written for a long time, and, like, I
Yeah.
do it with my private clients one-on-one, but to bring it into a group is gonna be juicy.
Okay, Kristen, I would love for you to give a better explanation of some of your tools of accelerated evolution because I don't explain it well. I explain my process and
Sure.
how excited and how amazing, but I want you to tell everybody so it's a little more concrete.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell a little backstory first. So when I was first getting certified as a sexuality and relationship coach, the founder of that organization said it's actually impossible no matter how much education you have in human sexuality and arousal and bodies and all these things, you have to have tools for trauma
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're going to work in this field. And it can't just be trauma informed or trauma aware. You need to actually have that will move people from one state of being to another. Otherwise, you're not going to be effective. And in fact, you're going to end up in water that's way over your head. And so I'm really grateful for that. So I got a double certification when I went through my sex coaching program. It's founded by a company called Warrior Sage, and the specialty of this particular rewiring of memories and identity consolidation and polarities is called accelerated evolution. So Satya Naraja actually helped bring the teachings of Zivrad Zelinsky and like make them repeatable. The way that I think about it is like neurosomatic reprogramming. It's very much like EMDR, internal family systems, art therapy, and somatic experiencing like they all had a baby. And like there are only a few hundred people in the world that have this skill set, and it is replicatable
Yeah.
every single time. I know that when I do one of these processes, I can track someone's experience through their body, and I can know that they will walk out of the experience completely changed every time. It's in fact, it gives me this tool belt where I'm like, I can deal with just about anything. And that's not prideful. It's confidence in the technology that we're using. So it deals with how we store memory and emotion. Um, and it's this beautiful release, repatterning, and rewiring that happens at the subconscious and superconscious level. So I've
Yes.
been a hypnotherapist for years. I think this works in a totally different, much more immediately tangible way. Like
Okay.
one shot. And what I love about it is it doesn't actually require to retell any traumatic stories. You don't have to like get into narrative. And so it's actually like the gentlest, most respectful approach for people who are dealing with really hard stuff. So, um,
That's what I wanted to
yeah,
bring in there was you kind of move at the person's slowest part,
yeah,
right? So it's this incredibly gentle, nothing scary.
yep.
I didn't retell stories. I didn't have to find these deep, dark, scary places. And
People
I
actually come in expecting to retell
yeah,
their stories. This happened here, and like I'm going to give you a timeline of all the horrible things that happened to me. And they prepare, and I just tell them you don't have to do that. I don't need to know the details for us to be able to actually change how we feel about something. I call it the
perfect.
internal liberation method. And the
And
idea for me was let me bring together all these tools, like my hypnotherapy background, my somatic art therapy background, all of this embodiment work I've done and learned, and these replicatable somatic verbal processes. It actually even goes back to the doula work I did. It feels like everything I've done, even though it seemed like these little itty bitty separate worlds, has just like all come together. So happy.
it's Matt.
Um, and so the way that we're doing this with Radiant Rebuilds is I'm bringing in that like spiritual mindset. It's much deeper than mindset, though. It's really like our deepest subconscious wiring and internal narrator stories. Who we even believe we are and what we believe about our bodies. And do we even deserve nourishment? Or do we actually control our bodies as like a problem to be dominated rather than an ally and a friend to be loved? And so helping women come back into that sense of My body is my friend, my dearest ally, my longest companion, and returning this sense of true, deep compassion and tending to our own selves just like we would to a child or a loved one instead of putting ourselves last. So let's talk about anything else that you want to talk about from there.
Okay. This is why I need you. This is so beautiful because perimenopause especially is this time of deep identity change. And it's not even known, right? It is this like subconscious thing that's happening with this brain pairing, with this like rewiring that's going on, and a shift in priorities, a shift in identity. And we've not been given permission, right? We're still supposed to function in all these ways we're supposed to function. We're still supposed to have the same body. We're not supposed to gain weight. We're not supposed to have all of these things. We're supposed to just be the same person. And on the other side, we don't have a period.
Mm.
And that is so misdirected. And that's why so many women are lost, depressed, anxious. All of these things come with these hormone shifts, right? So powerful to bring in what's not being said, right? Again, on this very deep level, we are supposed to be changing, but the permission isn't there. And we haven't had conversations with other women in the same space or who have even gone through this already. I love the menopause age because the wisdom is there to help bridge this gap between here's who I was. I should be different. Not even like getting back to myself because the middle was messy. This should be a different version of us and an upgraded version.
Yes. Ooh, I feel like that is a soapbox we could stand on together forever. And that's
Yes.
why we want to do this.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's not just, okay, yeah, some things change. I'm exactly the same. I just don't bleed anymore. We really are going through this tremendous, women go through this incredible, like long hallway transition. It's
Yeah.
longer than any other stage that we
Mm.
go through, right? It's not
Yeah.
toddlerhood and it's not puberty and it's not this childbearing year. It's an extended initiation and
Yeah.
there's a lot of unraveling and undoing. And the old ways of doing things don't work anymore. I see it all the time in my clients who come in their partnerships, their eroticism, their libido, all of these things are changing and they're not lost. They're not broken, but they are evolving.
Evolving.
And same thing with what you do too, right? How ridiculous is it that we somehow expect that everything is going to completely and totally change? The estrogen veil drops, all the masks no longer work, like all the things. And yet we just think, yeah, no problem, like work as normal, be
Mm-hmm.
social as you used to be, and just expect it to not rock your world. I think sometimes the rocking of the world, while it's extremely vulnerable, sometimes really confusing. The more we talk about it and the more we have tools and support, the
And
more and more
community.
comfort, yes, in community, the more comfort we have of like, oh yeah, this is natural, normal, healthy, and safe. Actually, I know how to deal with this and embracing the positives.
And
So it's
here's a roadmap, right? Like, we're not alone. It can be a windy road intentionally and should be, but there
Mhm.
is a path. You're not alone. I think that that's incredibly important.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about what Radiant Rebuild actually is. You know, you came to me and you were like, hey, how about if you bring all of your technology and your tools and I bring all of my science and my excitement and we bring this literal new, fresh, cutting edge understanding of what's happening in the body and the brain. And then I bring in all this mind spirit stuff. Let's talk about what we're actually doing together.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we decided we need this to be a community. We are doing this live on Zoom so we can have people from all over, which is so powerful, so amazing. But this is going to be an 8-week, every Monday night, live on Zoom. And we are going to be bringing together foundational nutrition stuff. Some stuff we can't get past. We still got to talk about blood sugar. We have to talk about the importance of fat and protein and all the things.
Mm,
And then I'm going to get really nerdy, but accessible. I
mm,
just get very excited about how we need to be feeling ourselves differently for this stage. What is happening with estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, those changes? How do we support them? How do we metabolize hormones better, more efficiently? What food is that? What movement is that? So I'm bringing in all of that world in addition to lifestyle. And then we're going to like bring together Kristen's side. So as I'm talking about why the brain maybe feels more like ADHD at this point because of estrogen fluctuations, she comes in and beautifully marries the side that I can't speak to around nervous system and soul and these deep identities. So wrap your side in so we can put those together.
Yes. In my world, it's not just what's happening, that's the factual challenge. It's also how we feel about it and how we respond to it. That's where we lose the quote unquote ourselves, or we lose the sense of being in the steering wheel. We're hijacked. So I'll just speak really directly to one I was experiencing. And like, it still is something I'm like bringing in this ongoing conversation about, which is memory. Like, my memory is not a coherent thing that I can count on right now. Right. And so it's really easy for us to go into shame, self-criticism and judgment, and say I'm losing my marbles, or I'm just so disorganized, or I just feel so behind, or like what's wrong with me, and this eye rolling thing, or even a sense of missing the old self. I miss being able to be really type A and efficient and get triple the things done, and now I can't. And so therefore there must be something wrong with me. And so shame and self-criticism is a really common thing for women in perimenopause. And so instead of going to like be more organized, plan ahead and all these functional strategies, we go to, where does the shame live in your body? What does it say? And when you feel the shame, what happens when you sit with it? And then we actually make friends with shame. Like, I very much consider myself a shame alchemist, actually, because in the work I do with pleasure, eroticism, and partnership, everybody walks in with sexual shame. It can be in different areas and spaces, but also body self-consciousness and criticism. Oh, I used to be so much firmer or fitter or perkier or whatever the thing is that's like the ideal. Eh, Please, if you're listening, see these gigantic air quotes, ideal body. And instead of saying, I hate my body's at war with me. Like, I see this a lot with people who are having ADHD symptoms, or they're having autoimmune challenges and things like that. Okay, yeah, that's a big one for your clients. People are like, my body hates me. My body's allergic to me. Let's make peace with our body and instead change that narrative. So I don't want to get too geeky on the how it works, but the end result is people's narrative completely changes. So, for example, instead of my body hates me, people end with my body is my dearest friend, my oldest companion, and I love her. Right? Sometimes people come in after an STI diagnosis, a sexually transmitted infection, are like, my cervix is trying to kill me. And they feel the shame around a diagnosis of like a sexually transmitted infection. And instead, we're like, actually, let's meditate on the cervix. Let's talk about what needs to happen there. And then all of a sudden, it's like, I love my cervix. Oh my goodness, the face of all of my femininity here is like so beautiful. And like using this tool to be able to heal these things. So all of a sudden, you can walk past a mirror without flinching, without without cringing. Instead, you're like, "Oh, my sweet body."
And then our
But it
cells listen, right? Our cells will function differently when we talk differently to ourselves, when
Yep.
we have a different narrative. And that's where healing comes in, right? I mean,
It
that's a whole different level of support that's so pertinent right now.
and it's not mirror work, and it's not affirmations. Those do not actually work. Sorry, there's my soapbox. You can't actually just tell your brain something to believe when another part of you is like, I know that's not freaking true. And so you can affirm yourself to the end of time, but actually all you really need is about a 20-minute polarity balancing instead. Or you need a mind clearing and an aesthetics process, and then you're done. It doesn't
And it's
have to
truly
be
that
3
fast.
seasons. It's
I've done that.
really that.
I've done that.
Yeah. So, like, I really feel like I've actually never seen a collaboration like this before. It's like, so exciting. This is our first time ever bringing the two pieces together, because I also have no freaking clue about all the nutrition stuff. I learned that from you. So it's going to be really exciting. So I know from you and our work together and sharing so much of our worlds, that one of the things that is really challenging for you as a practitioner is when people are having all these non-scale victories. Their skin is clearing up, they're sleeping better, all the things. I want you to go into that and then go into where they get stuck.
So I always warn clients, like, you got to be an 8, 9, or 10 on this readiness to change scale. Are you ready for all the things we're going to do from every angle? Yes, yes, yes. Great. We're a good fit. And then I say, I don't do a weight loss program. And so much of midlife is, and I want to lose weight. I have extra belly fat. My body doesn't look the same. I don't recognize myself. And so I put that out there. This is not going to be a weight loss program. This is going to be a deeply nourishing, recentering. How are we fueling the cells that need to be fueled to then function the way our body wants to be functioning? When we remove blocks, physical, mental, emotional, our body heals on its own, right? I'm not healing anything. We are supporting through information, nutritional information, stress support, nervous system support, organ support, but this is all in this really well wrapped whole body approach. But weight loss trips everybody up, even though I've said, I don't do weight loss. We're not going to get into the weight loss thing. And they go, that's totally fine. I just want to feel better. I want to have more energy. Great. Then let's say 2 months in. Okay. I typically work in like 5-month windows with people, and we have about a month in between sessions to go like do the homework and practice all the stuff we've talked about. And so they'll come to me at month 1 and they'll go, I have more energy. I'm not getting hangry. So, right, we're working on blood sugar. So that feels amazing. When you don't have the afternoon slump and you're sleeping through the night because you're not having blood sugar dips in the middle of the night, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I can see better. My brain functions better. That's a huge win for me. Then we get to like month 2 or 3, and they're telling me more like hormone related stuff. And it can even be like my breasts aren't tender. And that means we're supporting estrogen detoxification and really working with the liver. And to me, these are huge signs of like what you're doing is working. And then month 3 or 4, they'll kind of say, I still haven't lost any weight. And I have to kind of pull them back in and remind them, like, this is not actually a time to lose weight. In this zone of chaos, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, everything is really wild and crazy and wonky. And we are no longer as good at buffering these extremes. When
Mhm.
you throw weight loss in there, weight loss, right? The word loss. We are only adding stress. And stress is not a thing we're good at dealing with in perimenopause, physiological stress. So if we are eating less, if we are pushing harder, you are ultimately messing with cortisol. When we have cortisol dysregulation too high, we're in a fat storage mode. But all you're doing is adding more of a cortisol conversation when you push harder.
Yeah.
So I have to find this space of education and this space of kind of a gentle conversation around it does suck that it feels like that number isn't what I want that number to be. And I had to go buy new pants, but my new pants are cute. And I bought them with intention. And I'm doing this in a body that I am now, didn't used to be my old body, but this is where I get to identify right now. And I get to choose to be proud of the way I'm nourishing myself, really intentional about the way I'm taking care of myself. And we have to walk away from the scale. Then I'm only going to touch on this for a hot second. Let's talk about GLP-1 just for a second, just for a hot second. So a lot of my women do come with the weight loss thing. And what if I did a GLP-1? And while it is out of my scope to advise on a prescription medication, I always do a little bit of information around your job is muscle preservation and is deep, deep nourishment. And what we know from the research is we are losing muscle mass when we lose weight, especially big numbers of weight, right? Big pounds. And then we don't have the appetite and we don't want to eat the food that is otherwise providing information, safety signals for my cells because my appetite is lower. So it's really contraindicated in my brain when we talk about how do I really lose weight during perimenopause and what we need to be doing to thrive on the other side.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
another soapbox. And I'm going to put a little plug in there. One more thing.
Mhm.
I'm not saying nobody should be doing them. And of course, that's a conversation for doctors. And there are interesting benefits, but I want the brain space around weight loss to really be different, especially during perimenopause and menopause.
Absolutely. Yes. And focusing on Not what does my body look like, but how does my body feel and function? Can we look at that? I'm learning to eat for energy and particularly brain energy, particularly for mood regulation. That was a brand new thing. Like I knew exercise helped with that, but I had no idea that food did that too. And I could like weep with gratitude for that new understanding that you've given me that says like food is information. Food is actually calming. Food is healing even to the emotions of the body. When the body knows nourishment is coming, we're not starving, right? We can relax here. Everything's good. Like I know physically, I have no food scarcity or shortage. I'm so grateful to have that abundance. Guess what? My body doesn't know that there's plenty of food in the pantry and in the fridge. It's like she hasn't fed me. Like I am learning how to actually like wake up my body after years of not feeling hunger. Like,
Yeah.
I just ignored that for a really long time, and I wasn't trying to actually change anything about weight at all. Like, I've actually have a lot of body self-consciousness that I'm really grateful for, and, like, I wanna help bring to the rest of the world, but I had learned over the years to ignore hunger cues,
Interesting.
learning how our body feels and functions. And eating, resting, and exercising, and making love even, like, all the work that I do, embodiment work, relationships where we actually feel safe. We're out of fight or flight, we're not stuck in freeze, we can actually be at peace. It's like actually that regulation, that peace, Peace, is where this gets to be a lot smoother. It's a wild ride, it's true, but we could bring some lubricant. Yeah, bring some softening and some warmth to this ride, right? It doesn't have to be so, like, wretchedly hard.
Yes.
Um, it could be a lot gentler, and it could be a lot sweeter, and it could
Yes.
certainly be a lot kinder, and I
Yeah.
think that's what I really love about the way that you approach nutrition is it's not punitive, it's not controlling, it's not dictatorial, it doesn't ignite my inner rebel. It actually makes me want to take those steps. Your smoothie recipes that we do the seed cycling with the smoothies. It's like, oh, they're so delicious. And now I get a different one this week. There's like some fun to it, right? So I'm very grateful for you, your impact in my life, what I've learned from you. I'm so excited for what we're bringing to these ladies. It's still like it's so hard to describe without having been through an accelerated evolution process or the internal liberation method. I'm still finding the words to describe
Yeah.
it. Some of my clients actually are like, we just call it magic, voodoo magic. Just don't even tell people the brain science behind it because just like let them experience it. So I do
Yeah.
say it's like a try it drug. Try it. You will be different from the beginning to the end, and it will be truly transformational, but in
Yeah.
a way that isn't self-improvement. I wanna just highlight that again. This
And
is
no
ac
fix.
no fixing. It's actually
Yeah.
a toolbox and a community
Mm.
to do life together with.
Yeah.
And the identity upgrade, we're definitely doing an identity upgrade, and we're doing some intense experience integration work around some of the traumatizing things that have happened, right? Like, I had food taken away from me, for a long time. It wasn't until I did the work myself to be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm allowed to feel this."
Yeah.
Um, that then it was like, yeah, my identity upgrade is I'm a woman who totally loves and accepts my body just as it is. I love being in the skin, and wow, food gets to be delicious instead of something that I feel guilty about or
Amazing.
feel afraid of.
Amazing.
That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so let's end with this because actually my book comes out in a month and a week. My story in Awakening Eros, and it's all about permission granted. A little
Amazing.
sticky note that I actually give to every single client. You've got
I wrote
permission
this
granted.
because of you.
Yeah, I do this in all of my Unbound, Kosher Browniak women's power classes, and all of my private clients. They get a sticky note that they write, "Dear me, permission granted for life. Love me." And that's really what my healing journey and my erotic awakening was all about was permission to feel and live in my body again. And that's the name of the podcast because I really want everyone to feel this. Consent is something we arrive at and we agree to with other people, but permission is what we give ourselves. We are full grown adults. We don't need anyone else's approval. Consent is what we need when we're in relationship with other people. But really, where it comes down to the foundation of my work is restoring internal permission, internal authority, not looking outside ourselves for that. So, if you could grant all women who get to hear this, you could just literally like sprinkle it like fairy dust through the world. What permission in this season of life would you like to give and bless all the women in the world?
My initial reaction is empowerment. And empowerment through the acceptance, through knowledge, through self-love, through all of these tools. But you are truly in a space where you have the tools, you can go get what you want, you can interact the way you want, you can show up the way you want, but you are truly empowered
Mm.
to live the rest of your life, this next chapter, in a thriving state, not a surviving state.
Yeah. Hmm.
We don't have to put up with how we're feeling or the current state of information or the lack of whatever it is we think we don't have. We are truly not victims of this normal part of physiology, and we can support it in so many ways. It's not something to be passed over. There should be a transition.
Mhm.
This is a fast, I mean, it's 10 years, but when we get there, it's a drop in what has otherwise been really beautifully cyclic, right?
Mhm.
And we have control in how we support ourselves in that transition and how we
Yeah.
feel really great on the other side. No more, I've had a couple clients go, well, maybe it's just age. It may be common, but it's not normal.
Hmm.
Common is a thing we can do something about, right?
Yeah. 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 I really feel that this permission to in a way embrace this season and do things
Hmm.
differently. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. My permission I'm giving myself right now is permission to be more introverted than I've ever been in my
Okay.
life.
Love it.
Right. I have an energy budget currently, and that's just real.
Yeah.
And it's a different sort of capacity than I've had in the past.
Yeah.
And so I'm being more intentional about where I'm going, what I'm saying yes to, so that I can really have an amazing time, but it's not from exhaustion or putting on another mask or like pulling up these bootstraps that are like gone.
Yeah.
Just like permission to be a little bit more introverted, permission to stay home.
And say
And
no.
that's permission to say no. Yes. Okay. Is there anything else you want to leave people with today?
Gosh. I just am truly honored. I'm truly honored to have found you, to have like experienced your work, to even put something together with you. I cannot imagine a better partner, and your passion and your heart and your way that you hold space for people, even me in my journey. I just feel eternally grateful for dropping into your space.
Thank you. People find us when they're meant to, I feel like, because neither one of us are really big, like, out there on social media or mailing lists or whatever. We're, like, pretty faithfully serving the people that find us through
Yeah.
referrals, and it's really exciting to blend our worlds. I'm so excited for my people to meet you too, because you make nutrition fun and exciting and inspiring even, and that's special. So, Beth, I am so grateful for you being here today. I'm really grateful for you being in my life as a friend and as a practitioner and as a care provider. Um, you're such a beautiful spirit. I'm so excited to do this with you. All the ladies, come join us. We'd love to have you. And let's end with hmm, let's end with just actually dropping in together, just seeing each other like.
Great.
And actually, I want to introduce people to this, which is I see you as a conscious being with choice, whole and unbroken, and not in need of fixing. I know that's how you see me too.
Absolutely.
That is a foundation of both of our work. You don't see anybody that comes to see you as broken and in need of fixing either. It's just remembering what we used to know, what used to be innate wisdom and intelligence. We're just returning to that. So
Yeah.
I love you. Yay! Till
Amazing.
next time, permission granted.